like, I can't have back-to-back episodes.
It's okay.
Where I get waxed. Okay. And when we did Babylon 5, of course, towards the end, it was trivial when we were doing the quiz between.
Well, it can only help the podcast if you feel good about yourself, Dre. So I'm all for it.
Oh, wait, do I become a kaiju secretly? And you're like let him win the damn quiz if he doesn't.
I have to give him a few points or the earth is going down.
Welcome back to You Gotta Check This Out, and we're back to actually having things you gotta check out. We are continuing on the fantastic, the amazing, the power fantasy, and because it is just that powerful, we need at least 6 superpowered people to do it. I'm Dre Alvarez, Nerd Numbers Most Places. We got Mike Slater, Jaunty Hat Mike, a.k.a. Slaytron. And Mike, who did we bring to the table this time to help keep the power in balance?
Dre, this week, well, we're trying to build up our super team of people on the Power Fantasy, or at least our assembly that we're putting together. But this is Atif Myers from Sus Stories. Atif, what do you want to tell people about yourself?
I am, first of all, I'm happy to be here. No, I just love comic books. I love weird comic books, and this was a fucking phenomenal one you guys brought to me. I can't believe I missed this one.
Yeah, Kieron Gillen has been one of my boys, one of my favorite authors for so long, and just I haven't been disappointed by any. It's like him and Hickman are like my 2 guys and everything.
And I got to shout this out hugely. So again, if you haven't been checking out Sus Stories, that's spelled S-U-S. Just a powerhouse out of nowhere, very much like an angel birthed right after the atomic bomb. Your podcast in the last year, you've just taken off. Your Patreon's grown. They are comic-sized issues, and unless you have guests from the nerd oeuvre who take you along, like myself and Jeff May.
That's true.
But that's what I definitely wanted to bring up. It's like that was genius, just making it that short. It kind of works for how you have to put them out there. But like, I have so many podcasts that are 45 minutes to 2 hours, most of them. Yours are just like that breath of fresh air I use in between those other ones, man.
What I was going to say on You Gotta Check This Out, of course, the name of the game is You Gotta Check Things Out. What we've done this season so far, we'll see if you're willing to match our previous guest, Karen Slater. We did a sandwich. So do you want to tell someone up top you think our listeners should check out? And then at the end of the episode, something you think I should check out?
I thought it was an actual sandwich.
If you could tell them to check out a sandwich.
God, check out the Absolute run in DC right now. It's so good. Absolute Batman is so fucking good. It's so good.
All right, so that is great. We'll have to see what else. Mike and I will have stuff to add on. You got to check this out at the end. Mike, we already did an episode, and our advice to everybody is just read these. They're so easy. The Power Fantasy there at this point in 3 trades that are each about 16. You can get them at libraries at this point as well. Yeah. Apparently, you can go on eBay and get the full run for 15 is what you were saying, Tiff.
So you can get it for 15. It's on bid, but you can buy it for $60 to get the full run, which isn't bad at all.
Yeah, so just read these. I would recommend reading first and then listening. But Mike, since we are starting with book 2, do you want to get us caught up with Previously On?
Previously on Power Fantasy.
What happened in the first volume for anybody who for some reason didn't listen to the other episode and hasn't read this comic book yet. So in the first 6 issues of the Power Fantasy, we know that 6 superpowers have been in a Cold War for decades. If any of them make a move against each other, world's going to end. We meet the 6 main characters and a handful of supporting characters. In this world, Angel named Val came to Earth when the atomic bomb was dropped. Since then, random people have been getting powers. They're called atomics in this comic. Just think mutants, but not Marvel. And then our main characters are all these atomics with power to end the world. Think about Apocalypse, Magneto, Professor X level mutants. There's ETM Lux is an omnipath who can control minds. Valeria is the angel who came down, is one of them. Heavy is a left-wing cult leader that controls gravity and makes gravity singularities. Magus is a former anarchist who started a cult around magic and can do things with technology and magic.
Yeah.
Eliza has mysterious demon powers, and Masumi is an artist who unleashes a kaiju if she gets too depressed.
So she's like the Hulk.
Yeah, she's the Hulk for depression. So yeah, most plots revolve around Etienne's attempts to ethically maintain the balance between the superpowers and get as few people killed in the process as possible. It's a never-ending series of trolley problems, each more difficult than the last. And I think that kind of sums up the general...
Yeah.
We've had kind of a steady Cold War going on for what we find out was about 10 years, and we'll find out about the thing that happened in 1989. This book is placed in 1999, but then these 6 close alliances, they're not even quite friends, right? They're just they're the same level of mutant that all accept they have to respect each other, right? Some things have shifted. Magus, I think, and actually I've heard it pronounced like magic, almost like magus, which you can get the GIF. You get the GIF argument, whatever, either works. I've been going Magus.
I'm not going to go to war with you about this.
I'm not doing that one, though. But no, he allied with the United States government, which is kind of breaking from the norm. These powers have kind of tried to remain nation agnostic.
Also, all the powered people, they all kind of make Valentina as like the de facto leader. Like they all respect her so
Superman
much.
Stand-in.
Yeah, like they all like run shit by her or reach out to her for help. Like she's kind of like the glue, I feel like, in a way.
Yeah, and then that makes Etienne Lux, I haven't thought about it, he's like the Batman character in this. He's the one who knows how to take them all down if he ever had to, and is always like kind of plotting but still keeping the peace for everything. He's doing it because he has to and he knows what's right.
And yeah, they've had this uneasy alliance for about 10 years, but then 2 major things happened. Magus sided with the U.S. government for the first. His technology was used to try and take out Heavy, so someone took a shot at a super, which I think hasn't happened in about a decade, and you could tie it to another super. And then we find out the very last thing in the trade that ended, actually, Mike, not 6, 5, first 5 issues in the first trade. That's
you are nerd numbers.
That's revenge for last episode, which you didn't see any of. So we got that, and then we also find out that Heavy has a child that is also a superpower, which is shifting the balance, right? We had kind of 6 evenly matched or at least close in level power levels, and one of them's like, I just leveled up, I'm going to take you all down. And the other one says, I'm going to attempt to level up by siding with the U.S. government. So people are making moves. What's going to happen?
It's a Cold War. Nobody can do anything or something crazy is going to happen. And at the end of every issue, we see at least one crazy thing happen.
Well, that's because because Magus has realized that Lux at the end is like getting more and more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just, I got to get more powerful too, because he knows that Lux would take him out. With the chance that Lux would immediately just take him the fuck out.
And the good news is not even spoilers. We can skip ahead a little. In the end of the trade we're about to be discussing, Tien basically is, I'm close to being at the level where this Cold War is over. So the reason a bunch of people are making moves is there is almost a glacier power moving that's just going to take everybody out. And, I'm so excited to talk.
And well, it's great because they're all so right. Magus is right. The first thing that Etienne says is the only ethical thing to do is take over the world. And Val tells him that, and he's, why are you still aligning with him if you know that's the first thing he's told you what he wants to do? So, like, all of them are just, like, keeping each other in check, not just Etienne, but it's like, really well done.
I don't know. Heavy and Masumi just kind of want to chill, though. Right? Am I crazy? Heavy just wants to have his own cult, just bang people and fly around the earth. And Masumi just wants to do art. I don't know. They don't really see that interested in just being all powerful.
Yeah, and that's what makes it tough, is they're like, we have to be involved. That's very much that. We have to be involved. This is so annoying.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike, there's that. We're going to get going straight into the recap. Nothing else to do.
Dre, lest you forget about segments once again. Atif, are you ready for the name redacted memorial quiz to see if you actually read the comic?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, no one's ready for that. That's like the most definitive answer. Okay, here's how we do this. It's going to be you versus Dre, and just say your name if you want to buzz in. I'm going to say the question, and if I get bored waiting for one of you to answer, I'm just going to say out some multiple choice questions.
Okay.
All right, so the first category is I got the news. Question. How does Etienne discover the existence of Kid Ignition?
Dre.
Atif.
I heard Dre first. I have to give it to Dre.
Ton is a sleeper agent. She texts him in the middle of the night while he is in Australia, in the outback.
That is correct.
Yeah.
1 point for Dre. All right. Second category.
But she does not know that she's a sleeper agent, literally in her sleep. It's very fucking smart. It's so good.
Some stuff. We are going to talk so much about the ethics of that guy.
Oh, yeah. I think that comes up in this volume, too.
Okay. Got to stay on the quiz.
Well, sure.
Second category. Only a fool would say that. Question. Why does the Queen decide to tear apart reality? Dre.
She realizes that she is not going to be able to make people happier and better than they already are being in London, basically all partying out. So she has an existential crisis. She wants everybody happy and to love. She's never going to get what she wants, and because she can't, she's going to destroy reality.
That is correct, Dre. Even if it wasn't correct, you're just so excited about that. I'd probably give it to you anyway.
She realizes this is as good as it's going to get, and she hates it. Like, she's like, this is as good as it's going to get.
I got, just to let you know, this isn't your fault. I got waxed last round, and we don't normally record back to back. So I definitely am.
You were on your game.
Because I got Kieron mopped the floor with me, and then also made a game of mopping the floor with me the rest of the episode, which was too Etienne-wise. I was like, this is too good. I'm like, I want to be mad, but I actually have to highlight this and give Mike the notes and make sure that this comes out in the final edit.
Yeah, I mean, she's my partner, so I'm glad just you're getting it instead of me. So that's a great moment. All right, moving on. Third category is What a Shame About Me. What prevents Kid Ignition from being considered a true superpower? Dre.
Etienne can use his mental powers on him.
That is correct. 3 for 3.
I don't know.
Tiff, you have anything?
I'm leaning into the bit now at this point. I don't know. Sorry.
I know.
It's okay.
How you feeling about that, Tiff? I mean, he's just trying to shut you down.
I don't know. I'm not that. I'm honestly.
I know.
Not
I know you read it too. But I mean, Dre's got something on his shoulder going on.
I think it's the upside of Prozac.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, as long as he's happy, I don't care.
Fourth category is Sign In Stranger. What is Magus's true identity since 1989? Atif.
It's Dev.
Yeah, with the steal. Comes in on the board.
Brain locked up. I couldn't remember if it was Dev or Del for whatever reason.
Yep, it's Dev.
No, it's Dev. He's actually American too, which is funny.
I love it.
He's just doing like the fake British accent.
All right, last category. This is Godwhacker. Question. What keeps Eliza from going insane after defeating the Queen? Dre, you got it.
You go, it's Dre. It is Dre.
Yeah, Etienne is pretending to be God. Talk about a God complex.
Yeah.
You got it. I think this might be the first time we didn't need to get to any of the multiple choice questions, too. You guys were both on it.
I will also say, compliment to this, I, after reading it, have reread it at least once and have been looking stuff up. I'm that interested in like how Kieron Gillen has set this up to be really thinking about this book.
No, I mean the fear with being a guest on like a review podcast is like, what if I hate it? I don't know. I always go to the negative. But this was like unbelievable. I was like, this was fucking tremendous. So thank you.
I noted you did the Wicked and Divine episode of Sus Stories. People check it out. And I laughed. It was so freaking meta because in it you said, I'm going to review issue number 2. I don't want to start with, I never like starting with issue number 1. That's where they set things up. And I'm like, we invited, before remembering that, we invited you on to do book number 2 of the Power Fantasy. Same author. I was like, yeah, this is kismet.
Well, because like sometimes it's like you just get so caught up in reviewing the setup that you don't really get to the good shit yet. And it also, I want to mix shit up. And The Wicked and Divine was fantastic, but there was a lot of fucking setup in that first one. That it's like the second one, I felt like shit really popped off.
Yeah, Wicked and Divine was the first book I ever read by Kieron Gillen that really got me into him. And the Young Avengers, his run was great on that.
Am I wrong, Mike? On Wicked and Divine, I think he said he even kind of learned about kind of consolidating, and that he said 6. He said 6 characters is ideal, and that's what makes this book so great, right? Is that feels like the perfect balancing act of 6 majors. It's enough to keep in memory. It's enough to be able to have enough alliances and non-things without feeling...
Same exact thing in die and die loaded. Yeah. It's made around the 6 types of dice, and each one corresponds to a god and a character in there. And he really goes far with that.
Love it. Okay, so this book is... I do think trade number 3 is my favorite, But number 2, a lot happens.
Yeah, I think the whole second trade has so much plot going on. The first one is all set up and world building. Last one is it's very quick. That third volume, it goes once all the dominoes are set up. But this is where everything gets moved into place. So for issue 6, we have a couple main plot threads. We'll start with what Mags is doing because he was just made the Secretary of Magic. So at the end of the last issue, he had his feet up on the Oval Office desk. Now the president is telling the world that, hey, he's the new Secretary of Magic for the U.S.
Yeah, which is a position that he just made up because he couldn't be president.
Yeah. And then I love the scene of Val. This is the first time we see her really in orbit, just in her sweats. She's just in her cozy, sitting down watching this on TV, eating a bowl of chips.
And we did establish this last, is that after the Summer of Love in 1969, where she inadvertently killed the president, she just lives in space. And so it is kind of hilarious where many of these supers kind of each have their own weird fortresses of solitude. And she's just kind of hilarious.
But it's a house on a satellite.
I love that.
You can see it moving around. There's these giant rock formations around her. Yeah. It's really celestial. Everything that Casper does in this is worth spending a few minutes on the page just to see what he did.
Yeah, because also you see the house and there's stairs leading up to the porch, but you don't really need stairs in space. You know?
Yeah, like MC Escher type thing she's got going on around her.
Yeah, but you can just float. And nothing in her house is floating. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she has some deal with Heavy because he's created he created a singularity for her.
That's okay. Yeah, fair.
So anyway, if we're staying with Magus's story for this issue at first, he's meeting with one of the army rep. That's kind of he gets to give some story out to him. He gives him a mask that looks just like him, says it's to protect him from Etienne.
Yeah.
And this is where Magus kind of reveals for sure that he grows in power with the pyramid members. I mean, we kind of knew that already, but he's actually telling the guy how it works. And he's going to use the U.S. government to recruit more cult pyramid members so he can get to the power level he needs to be at.
Yes, literal pyramid scheme.
I love that it worked. I actually texted you about this, Mike, when I was reading. I was like, that is so genius, because I thought it was the inverse, right? A superhero is, I could just make a cult. You think The Boys, right? Homelander kind of thing. And it does the inverse. It's, they build on each other. And it is revealed that in 1989, he basically went from probably being, at that point, the most powerful Heavy at the moment to nothing. And his numbers are just down. And they're not going back up because no one wants to join the cult that got annihilated by the Devil Lady.
So the other thing in this book is there's a short mid-book sequence where Isabella is telling Masumi that she is narcissistic. But the thing about this scene is it shows that she'll still stay with her. They have a close enough bond with each other that, hey, maybe Isabella really is the right person for Masumi to keep her under control because she can tell her these things about herself and she'll still be okay. They love each other that much.
They do love each other that much. And it's you kind of wish she wasn't living in fear of her partner, though. No?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we've already had the scene where she's talking to Etienne and she doesn't even realize that she's come to him multiple times to get her memory wiped because of how hard it is.
Yeah.
I mean, because we know that eventually the whole book is going to be the crux around this relationship, I think it's good that he just made sure to show their relationship throughout the book in little ways, even if they weren't the main focus of each one.
Also, it's weird that Magus has had the same helmet for decades, right? But Etienne hasn't figured out how to bypass it. Right?
Wait, I can't remember if this is said in this one. I think he does tell it to the general, and I do love this. The helmet doesn't work as a blocker. The helmet will kill them if it goes off. And so basically, I've been thinking, we got to stay here for this, about Etienne and all this.
Please.
So there's a couple things, right? Etienne, the only way any of the other heavies are able to kind of keep him in line is by giving him rules. And it's kind of 50-50, right? Etienne also comes in as the logical thing to do is this. We all agree, right? And there is right. And then Magus eventually knows every time he does that, it's better for him than us. So I do love that. I do love that kind of gamemanship stuff, right? The other thing that we did find out in book 1 because of Isabella is Etienne says he is able to rewrite his mind to be able to handle horrific things like killing the president and stuff. And he's able to do that with some people, but not everybody. So at this point, we don't even know he doesn't even know his own personality, right? Like, how much has he rewritten himself because of that? Which just gets to be like a wild mind question. And so it's, the whole reason so many of the other things work is he has given himself rules that he is forcing himself to follow with his mental powers that they're all able to take advantage of. But again, you would also figure, I will say this, I'm okay jumping ahead on this question because of this. We know that Magus is a impersonator, an imposter at this point. No one else that knew him for decades is, your voice is slipping, you sound different. Hey, I thought you were a little taller. Nothing?
I thought the mask would give him like a neutral voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a robot voice that you couldn't really tell. I thought that's what it was. But I just don't know how, if he's had the same tech for decades, how is Etsy? I know the rules thing, but once you see him teaming up with America, then it's like, all right, let me fucking read this fucker's mind, right?
Yeah, at that point, what's he going to do? But he's using ETN's ethical rules against him, and he knows that's the only way to stalemate with ETN is present him with the door problem. And one of us always tells the truth, one of us always tells a lie. Magus figured out a way by making this mask, forcing ETN to always have that ethical decision that makes him go crazy. He'll never go inside the mask.
But he doesn't even. Does that same rule apply for the building? For the pyramid that he's in, or can the pyramid block him out?
The pyramid has another way to block him out. I think it's because he has enough followers. Okay. He's powerful enough to block out ETN at that point.
Or ETN's, I'm willing to bet at this point, he's just respecting it out of making a move. And the other thing that Gillen does just really well is like the paperwork, right? ETN, before he moves, he has to talk to everybody. And so I think Magus in this book gets an edge in that I know he's going to have to talk to these 5 people. And if I keep him distracted long enough, by the time he's got filled out the TPS reports, it'll be too late it won't even matter.
That's fair. Okay. Okay. Thank you for breaking that down for me. Because that did confuse me. Because I was like, if I had a fucking Commodore 64 on my desk, I can probably hack into it.
Yeah, it's less hacking or ability than just breaking his ethical model. It's a way to deal with him. But yeah, moving on with the plot. The other big thread for this first issue of the volume is Kid Ignition gets introduced to Tanya and us and all of Haven. And Heavy tells all of them about like how he had this prophecy told by this one lady that his future child's going to be a superpower, and that he kind of figured out that since no other superpower emerged since 1982, someone's been doing something, and it's heavily implied by how they cut scenes that he suspects ETN.
He's even in the background of the picture of it when she died.
They cut to right to the scene from 1982, right after the whole kaiju attack in Tokyo. That's what not only convinces ETN to start placating her with his mental powers, that's what convinces Heavy to make Haven, because he's showing off his first Haven rock, and that's when ETN says, I can't see into it. He's like, oh, that's just a side effect of the singularity. But really, he knows he's having a kid. He just saw this shit go down, and there's no other superpowers coming out. He's shielding his kid, who he knows is an atomic, and he knows the prophecy says is going to be a superpower.
By the way, we're all nerds. We all know tropes. This is fine. We all know that's not the real superpower kid, right? I'm just going to stress that when we're talking how these books work, right? I'm going to have a superpower kid. This is the one. He's in a sex cult. He was even having sex with Jubilee at one point. I guarantee you,
there's other super kids out there.
Is not the superpower kid the woman prophesies. He thinks it's it. He plays his hand by ETN knowing it, but the definition, right? That's the weird thing. ETN set the rules for what superpowers are. To be considered a superpower, none of the others. It's like a rock paper scissors game. None of the others are able to take you out directly, including his mind powers. And we find out that the kid is susceptible to his mind powers. So there's like a baby out there somewhere from the sex cult that is a superpower. Or I also think technically Tanya could produce that kid, but she might be out of time.
So Tanya has a line that I love, and it's set up by Heavy, who says that, hey, if we have 2 superpowers, everything changes. And Tanya says, if a nuclear arsenal can destroy the world, what does it matter if it's twice as big? And there's all these great lines she has that.
Dude, I mean, that is deep. And Tanya she's so good in this story. Kind of underrated because she's barely superpowers.
She's Jubilee. I was so excited to see Jubilee get some love.
She's the voice of reason character at all times. Just staying with Heavy, watch what's going on, and she has just like she sees through with wisdom. Like here's above all of this.
And then the rough part is she wakes up in the middle of the night. Manchurian Candidate texts Etienne, assumably on a secure line. I mean, this is what when we were talking about like how you take him down. This is the rough part. Etienne, we have seen multiple times, will send someone that he has altered their personality just enough to influence someone else or be in a position. And he's a min-maxer, right? He can't fully manipulate someone, but he will manipulate them at the barest level that he considers ethical, which is the hilarity. And I've said that is the terrifying nature of this universe, is that you cannot trust any person in the universe of the power fantasy isn't someone Etienne has mentally messed with to keep you acting the way he wants you to.
Yeah, because we see right here, sleeper agents. He's not above using people to get what he needs from anything.
He has mentally controlled the girlfriends of 2 of the other supers, which is messed up.
Yeah, it's like constant shady shit. So yeah, that leads us right into the next issue, number 7. We finally get to the second Summer of Love. This whole issue is called the Second Summer of Love Part 1. So pretty much the entire rest of this volume is going to deal with this one massive event with the Queen that happened years ago. We start out in 1999 where Val is visiting Eliza in Manchester, where Manchester used to be, that she's built this evil Elsa frozen ice palace in the middle to constantly be doing penance and talking to God and asking for forgiveness for what she did. So throughout this story, she and Val are kind of talking in the background as they're recounting of the events that happened of the Second Summer of Love. I guess I'll ask for a second, what'd you guys think of the Ice Queen Palace that she made?
I dug it. It reminded me very much of a Final Fantasy boss level. Maybe Final Fantasy 3 or 6 in America, where it's just this cathedral where just this all-powerful being lives. It was fucking sick.
I was going to say, it definitely does smack more of 8 to me with Ultimisia, all the sorceresses, like absolutely, actually 100% there, yeah.
Yeah, it's so distorted looking too. Like I keep going back to Casper, what he does with all these art. This book would never make any fucking sense to most people if it was just like straightforward. What's going on? There's so much jumping around, and I have no problem like riding with it. And a lot of it's because Casper is really good. We had the issue before where Magus the Pyramid stuff, it was all done like a zine style. He was drawing stuff in the way characters with it. And then if he's drawing Masumi, it's all this calm, almost like warm anime style that he uses. Yeah. So we always know where he's going in time throughout all these jumps.
No, like it is exceptional art. It was like, it's a bit of a far cry from The Wicked and Divine, where you got something like that, right? Where that one's just so bright and just so clean. Whereas this one is just, it's more cartoony and gritty a little bit. I don't know. Is that weird to say?
Yeah, distorted and gritty in places, but it can also be just beautiful and just like overtaking. Like some of these 2-page spreads are like cinematic in how much they're doing and how much he's showing. But yeah, I don't know how he keeps all of this grounded within one universe, and you take it in as if, yep, this is one place, all these different mixed media styles together without even realizing it. Like it took me 3 readings through till I like, oh wow, like how are we all staying with this shit everywhere? So Magus' story in this one is he's letting Masumi in on his plans to build up the pyramid through the U.S. influence. We see him kind of having a 2-way transmission through a TV to Masumi, and it cuts out halfway through the transmission as Heavy just takes out the satellite. He's like the Nelson of the superpower group.
But from like his home, like he's floating with a drink next to him floating, just laying down and just destroying the satellite.
Yeah, just chilling, whoop, just pop it up like that.
The reason this works is because it's character-based. They're superpowers, but instead of just punching each other, they're talking, having these minor things, and it is hilarious where it plays very much like family, where you're mad at each other, but you love each other. They always got to come back, and the petty stuff that they do after all these years plays so well.
Yep. So this is where Isabella is telling Masumi about the second summer. So like we have two narrations going on at the same time in their present day of 1999, where both Eliza and Val are talking about the events at the same time that Masumi is hearing about what happened from Isabella. And so what Isabella tells her, the main thing is that she is from Italy, which was destroyed in this event, but she was on a school trip that her mom sent her off. And the only reason she's in Tokyo is because she happened to not be there on a school trip when Europe was destroyed.
Did you appreciate that an author writing a writer will always do this, where she says she said goodbye to her grandma and her grandma said something poignant, and then she stops. She didn't say that. I'm just doing this. I'm doing this to make this a more poignant scene. But the reality is our last moment was like a nothing burger, and that just sucks.
Yeah, like it's how she made it up in her mind, which that could have been from another time, not the last meeting.
Which is just rough. Like the Masumi and Isabella stuff about creative and all that, I always dig.
Yeah, he picks the right amount of it to put in every issue to ground that as an anchor with all the crazy shit around it.
And I honestly just feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like
they're they're the Romeo and Juliet type of story where it's, ooh, these kids are doomed.
Yeah, because again, they just kind of want to do their own thing, but they're still drawn by these forces that want to take over everything. Like, yeah, it's fucking sad.
Yeah, like Isabella, the only thing she did wrong was fall in love with Masumi. Yeah. And everything else that came out of there is just from that moment. Cool. But yeah, so the rest of this first part of the Summer of Love, we get to see the Queen arriving, which is actually like where they start the issue. But this is really cut throughout everything because it's the main thread of the story. The Queen isn't a superpower. She's not an angel, but she's just this other thing that comes to Earth one day and decides to spread a message of love. Val sees what she's up to and is really chill with her. They're sitting there like smoking a joint in most of the scenes, just talking about how great love is. Yeah. And then she has this drug effect in Manchester as she brings everybody around the world. They have cops coming to stop her, and she turns like the hippie, like their bullets to flowers, and they join in on the dancing.
Actually, though, I do got to say, I think she does have to qualify as a super because Etienne's mental powers do not work on her, and she is like Omega level. So I think she would qualify. She's not a super anymore because she's not around, but yeah, she's just not around long enough to get within. That might be another qualification. She has to be involved in the Cold War, and she's not around enough to start pushing pieces around. And we can note about this, what makes this part fascinating on two fronts is we are given a very brief backstory. There's the Major and whatever there was another weird alien that kind of phases the signal, and I think that's coming later in the next issue. But it is listed on the timeline earlier. So the signal is an alien entity that shows up that was taken out, we're told in book 1. And this person shows up and they do not take her out, which I think is actually more scary. It implies that they can't. Because we know for a fact at this point in 1989, this group will take out a threat if they view it to be a threat and Etienne tells them so. And she's more powerful than him. I'm going to come back to the interview you've quoted a couple times now, Mike, where Kieron Gillen talks about for superpowered beings, you have to use other superpowered beings as barometers. So again, Etienne being able to take out Kid Ignition tells us where he is on the pecking order. So the fact that we are given a backstory that, hey, aliens came to Earth once before and Heavy just killed it. And the fact that this alien shows up on Earth seems to be able to affect Val and Etienne does nothing tells us just how powerful and terrifying that is, especially since we also have the backstory that she almost destroys reality. Yeah, we have a scene where they're all talking about what to do about her when she first comes out, and Val's just, look, she's in my power level, but she's chill. I believe her and I trust her. And she is very much the Superman. Yeah. She has good music. Yep, that's what Superman. Yeah, exactly. If the music's good, she's there. But once the Queen realizes it can never be better than that, she's reached perfection, she goes insane, as we found out in the quiz earlier. And she just begins to tear reality apart. And this is like some of the most amazing art. Yeah.
Up until this, we've seen like these spiral layouts where Casper is setting up almost like pie pieces of all the love and stuff hitting people around. And then as soon as she said, it's not enough, she changes into this jagged edge otherworld being that looks like it's from Hellraiser all of a sudden. And like all the panels and the comics are like split in two with these jagged edges everywhere as she's tearing worlds apart. Yeah. How did that hit you, Atif? I always love those like jagged style changes that really hit you on the 2-page spreads.
This is one of these panels where you could fucking hear it. Does that make sense? You can hear it. You can just hear it. You can hear the chaos right now. But you can't read this, like you can't read this and see this and not amplify it in your head.
You and Mike have both just praised Kieron Gillen so much that I'm just like, I wasn't shocked. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You always feel better. And you're like, you told me to check out this thing and it was good. Shocker. That's almost the premise of the show. I will say, Mike, from your notes about these back and forths, what is great is you get a lot of character building. Atif, you keep bringing up just Masumi and Isabella are tragic because they are almost like teenagers talking or young. They're chatting so casually about, I was on a trip to Europe and this happened and no, it didn't happen that way. But Eliza and Valentina, I love there because Eliza's narcissism and stuff just keeps shining through, right? As Val is retelling it, she's, well, I saved it. Well, I did this. The soft moment at the end is when she says, I saved the world and that was my sin. We just see how much of an ego complex she has. And I think we get the very real implication that Valentina was probably in love with the queen. And that's what makes this rougher because they're like, why couldn't you take her out? The story we're given is the queen flings her across the galaxy, but I'm willing to bet on the next thing, we're going to see a panel where Valentina had a shot and didn't take it. I'll put money on that.
Well, and with Masumi and Isabella, like this point seemed like the point where they just stopped growing, if that makes sense. Like it was such a traumatic event that this is where they just stopped growing and they didn't want to advance past this.
Well, not just them, like the whole world, it seems, stopped growing because, I mean, in the first volume, they reveal that look of, oh, yeah, Europe's gone in this universe. So that's going to affect everybody in different ways. And exactly what you're saying, it's like Isabella and Masumi are our window to that type of relationship and how an event like 9/11 affects everybody in some way, even just by viewing with it if you didn't know anybody there. These events are happening constantly in this world. So that's, again, I keep going back to it, but like having a little bit of Isabella and Masumi in every issue just does so much for the story to hold it together. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, that brings us, Dre, we were just saying the reveal of the issue number 7 is Eliza says she saved the world and that was her sin. And she is just full of herself. I mean, this bitch is just like building a palace to her own grief. Anybody comes to visit her and she chastises them. Well, what was your sin? Mine was saving the world. She's like the worst suicide girl ever.
Passive-aggressive mom is a pretty good villain. I know Kieron says none of the people are villain, and of course, the person who saved the universe is hard to qualify as the villain. But of the 6, I would say she's the closest we get.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, the whole next issue is Eliza's story. So we start out with her background and see her when she was in like Christian school, some Bible school, talking about how it was Thomas Aquinas. They're debating in a class, and his argument was that whoever sins morally deserves infinite punishment. And she's just saying that's full of shit because God's all good and God will save you no matter what. Yeah. She has this undying belief that God will save her. I don't know what school of Christianity that is, but it leads directly into why she makes her decision to like, hey, it doesn't matter if I sell my soul. God is all knowing and all loving no matter what. I will be saved.
Yeah. Very Southern Baptist.
So they go on to show like her in Magus's cult. Even despite being a Christian, she was in Magus's cult. And I was like, had this question, and someone asked it on an AMA last week where Kieron Gillen was answering all questions about this. Oh. And someone asked her, like, how does Eliza reconcile her membership in the pyramid with her faith? That would be blasphemy for her. And the way he looks at her character is she named herself Eliza Hellbound. She's so egotistical, and there's a good that she can do anything and it doesn't matter. It's a good question of how much she did. He thinks that the tension there is interesting and the pointer for going. She's a nonconformist, faithful person. She's a punk radical Christian, is how she views herself. So her joining the cult was her way of getting her teenage rebellion, but retaining to her Christian identity is what got her through that. She felt that was more of an iconoclast. She had to be more of an iconoclast than the actual anarchist she was joining.
Well, it's weird because when she's talking to Val, she realizes that her pride and ego is her biggest sin. Right? But it's not like she's doing anything to change that.
Yeah,
you know
she's just wallowing in it. And Val even says, this isn't a good idea what you're doing here. You should get beyond this.
Yeah.
You tried pickleball? Pickleball wouldn't exist. In 10 years, that reference is going to land.
So we get to the rest of her story. She's the true Christian in Magus's cult, and we meet her husband, Dev, who's also in the cult, and he advances up to what? Total arsehole, the next one that's under arsehole.
Yeah.
And she's not going to be moved up because Magus doesn't trust her because she's a true Christian.
They're both in the numbered ones, right? Because it's 36 and 52. Kieron went over these last episode. They're both in a numbered one.
Yeah, they're in. So now Dev is promoted like second to top right under Magus, and she gets left behind in that like third level of the pyramid. Double arsehole or whatever that one was.
And we know for a fact from how what we've learned is what that's going to do to her personality. Her being below her husband, not be like, aren't I good enough? She's going to hate that. Yep. She's going to try and prove herself.
Yep, she's being pushed down. So, of course, she gets Dev to tell her some of the secrets from that next level of the pyramid, which includes a ritual that it is possible to sell your soul for power. And then the way they put it is they don't give her the ritual. She figures out the rest of her own using her knowledge of Christianity and talking to God. So it's like some combination of the magic and the heaven magic, which we know exists because there's a fucking angel in this book. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
So what happens is we already talked about Val was defeated and all their plans were revolving around her defeating the queen. Eliza sees this, goes and does this ritual, gets turned into a demon hell bitch, and takes out the queen.
Which also does, pecking order wise, show us where she's at, right? Because Valentina couldn't take out the queen. Eliza took out the queen. Pecking order, Eliza's at the top.
She was able to do what Val couldn't.
But also the art of her selling her soul is so fucking good. Is you can just see the faith leaving her, but then being reborn again. And it's so fucking good. And just because she did it, because she said she turned her back on God. And yeah, dude, it's so good. But she did it because she knew that God would never turn her back on her. And she's became this evil goth, sexy lady.
Definitely Kerrigan, StarCraft-wise. And then also I'd say it definitely smacked of Into the Spider-Verse, right? The falling down, but it's up.
Yeah.
Very similar vibes.
Because there's the vertical shot of her coming down onto the queen where she's opening up hell, and that's where they meet.
And Europe was gone. I just reread the panel. That's a great line. We touched and Europe was gone. It's geez.
So now she's doomed to some hell-like dimension. And they're all worried. Etienne is worried that, okay, she's going to go nuts. She is now a ticking time bomb with all this power. So to soothe her, just like he soothes Masumi, the reveal at the end of this issue is that Etienne is now pretending to be God, talking to Eliza as if her prayers are working and God is answering. What do you guys think about that?
That's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
But also, it does, comparing this to the boys very similar. When you're in a universe where there is a godlike creature and the only thing you can appeal to is its ego, and that does get the hilarity. The most powerful beings in the universe have to be like, good job, Christian girl. Good job on the rosary. And you're like, isn't this weird? Oh, very much so.
Yeah, that is weird that God actually talking to her is the only thing that keeps her in check. Or actually, quote, like it's not, obviously it's not him. But it's smart of Etienne to realize that's what it does. That's what will keep her in check. It's very bright, very brilliant of him. And it goes back to his ethics. right? Would I sacrifice one person for billions? For sure. I guess I'm going to sacrifice this woman's sanity to keep everybody alive.
Cool. So the next issue is issue 9, and this is actually a pretty between issue. We've talked just about everything that's in it. This is kind of all the characters taking a breather after everything with the Queen. We get Masumi telling Isabella about how she experienced the second summer of love, in that ETN in 1989 Tokyo, the only thing he could do with all the shit going on with the Summer of Love and the Queen was to call Masumi. So he had her knock herself out with an injection so she would just sleep through it and not get depressed because Europe's blowing up. So Isabella finally, like after all these years, tells her what happened. When Europe blew up and she was in Tokyo before they met, a huge chunk of Austria almost took her out. And this is like this weird panel that's almost out of a cross between a kaiju movie and like Independence Day, where like a giant asteroid is coming down on all of Tokyo and it stops right before it hits them. And she's like, that's how Heavy saved all of our lives.
It just shows how powerful Heavy is.
Yeah, and it's one of the few superhero moments. That's like a classic superhero, almost Superman moment, stopping the thing before it hits all the people.
Yeah.
Giving it to Heavy.
Man.
Yeah. So the rest of this issue, we get more Etienne and Val debating moral action of Etienne playing God. Val is questioning, is this the right thing to do? Is anything the right thing to do with what you're doing with Eliza? And the big plot move is Heavy calls a super meeting of the superpowers on a super meeting of the superpowers at the Super Justice League on Kid Ignition's 18th birthday to determine if he's going to be officially a new superpower. He's taking a big risk because he knows ETN is probably turning off superpowers and keeping them as low-level atomics. So he's just ready to make his move. And Magus tells the army guy that the helmets don't protect them, which is the thing we already got to earlier, that they explode and they really don't do anything. So yeah, was there anything I missed in this issue, Dre? I know you got it right in front of you.
I was going to say, we were both in the same plot. You did also point out, right, Europe was destroyed, but Eliza did save the Vatican. Which,
yeah, that's like the one place she destructed, she saved. She moved it to Ethiopia.
And this is the one where also it's revealed that Magus has been dead since 89, and it's actually Dev. Because he's still trying to get allies. And then he realizes the only way to get Eliza on his side is to reveal that he's Dev, her long-dead husband, and that Magus has actually been dead since 89, and that it's been Dev the whole time. Like, lying to her for over a decade.
And the mind blank on that, because, like, she hated Magus. Like, they did not get along. Of course, he kept her from advancing. I will say, this definitely came up on our episode of Sus Stories, right? The fun of being brown in the United States and racism of y'all really couldn't tell them apart. Really?
They were like the same height and wore a mask, right?
Yep. Hey, as a white guy, that's all we need.
They're both brown. They both got hair. They both got a mask. You're like, but anyway. But yeah, it's just the wildness. That means, he's had to lie and act away for a decade and also watch his wife go pure evil. I don't know. We don't get too much into it in any of the books, but you also got to wonder, like, from his perspective, he's ever going to have flashbacks. Yeah, there were signs, and you see like arguments and fights.
Has she done anything than take out Europe, though? It seems like she's been hiding in her cathedral, right?
Yeah, I guess that is an interesting question, because Mike, you rightfully bring up that she is very egotistical, but also you kind of have to question, is she wrong? Right? She's like, I saved the entire world.
Yeah.
I sacrificed my faith, also proved my faith, right? She's like, I said I was Christian. I got this power by sacrificing my soul, and now I'm joined to hell. So I was right. Everybody, I was right.
Yeah.
And she is egotistical. And so I actually do wonder, like what I just was jokingly saying, I'm wondering, like, flashing back, if she did have the same narcissism or if it's just correct. And in terms of Masumi and Eliza, the two most terrifying beings, it's like, you're almost on their side because they're really more of a force of nature.
Yeah.
Masumi, who just has no control over it. Yeah.
That's a good point. I actually appreciate that, because I was going to say, I agree with Mike's notes that she is very narcissistic through all of this, but you're also like, are you wrong? You're like going to the Pope to be like, so I'm a devil being and I want my soul saved. You're supposed to be the Pope. You should be able to do something, right?
Also, I mean, I don't blame her. She did save the world. I get fired up when I do something right in the house, and I'm just bragging to my wife all the time. Yeah, I fucking took that trash out. I'm just like, I couldn't imagine the hype I'd have for fucking saving the world.
Yeah, I fucking saved that world. Yeah. Remember that time when I saved the world?
Yeah, I'd be way worse than this lady.
Nice. Well, the next issue, 10, I love the name of it. They go back 2 issues and call this one The Second Summer of Love Slight Return, like a Jimi Hendrix song. So this is where we get the brief scene about the signal. A lot of it is made in the timeline, but there's just 3 pages of it where it's this kind of like 3D looking alien there's a naked man and a woman that are together as one being. And all we know about him is said in the text that we'd sent out a signal to contact alien races sometime in the 70s. Their world died. They saw our signal. And we're seeing them as kind of like a young alien race before they can do anything, and Magus comes and Etienne convinces him to somehow kill the signal. And the only way this comes really back that I saw, and Dre, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but this inspires Magus later on this issue to save his pyramid members. They didn't really die while they were fighting in the Second Summer of Love. Instead, he figured out some way, do something like the signal did and send them out in the future.
That's fascinating. And I did miss on the first run through that exact point, because then also we get a nice Chekhov's gun with that. What that means, we're told 50,000 is the magic number for the Magus, and
Magus's
there's
pyramid,
a 250,000 out there somewhere. So when we're talking raising power levels, that is really important. And like I said, signal-wise, there's that. And I said the other main thing to me is it puts in place that these heroes, extraterrestrial being comes up, because this thing tried to mind control China. They're like, you're gone. So that means when the Queen showed up and Val's, we think they're okay. The fact that the Queen got to stick around proves just how much of a threat they were.
And the rest of this issue is intercut with scenes of Eliza and Dev having explicit sex in the middle of every 2 pages.
Dude, it's Kieron Gillen. He loves sex scenes in books.
This is awesome, because the first thing they do after figuring out, my dead husband is back after 2 decades or however long has been gone, they waste no fucking time. She uses her demon powers to rip off his clothes and just jumps on him. We're seeing this in the middle of them going at it while we flash back to the Summer of Love, where Magus is showing exactly what happened with all the pyramid people. He's sacrificing all the cult members to be able to stay in the hellhole, because he needs them not necessarily to close the door between worlds. He just needs to sacrifice them like a coal engine to stay down there while he's sealing the gap between worlds. Yeah. So he's doing that, and the expectation is that he's doing that part, and Val will fight off the Queen. Val fails, and Magus has switched plans. So now he plans to put cult members into a field. He was inspired by those signal aliens to say, I can have these guys, send them in space and find another home. We don't find any more about that, but the hope is that's one of the few threads that we're going to pick up on when the comic comes back.
Yeah, I hope so.
So after that, Magus immediately just knows, he does the math, someone sold their soul. And that's right when Eliza comes in and finishes off the Queen.
Yeah, and he realized that Deb was the one who told her everything.
And immediately, he just knows it was you, because he turns around to Deb. It was you told her.
Yeah.
So he sends all the cult members off, except you, Dev. You and me stick around here. And that's, as we alluded to, Dev becomes the new Magus because he has the same color skin and can do a decent impression of Magus's British.
And the same height, similar heights.
I do love that it paid off, right? Because that one panel I keep coming back to, because in that panel, we see Dev the first time he's pretending to be Magus, and he yells at Eliza. I can't believe I taught you. He's blaming himself. He's, I didn't teach her that. She'd know I didn't teach her that. He's, I'll just pretend I figured it out. And we also do get the point. Kieron picked up on this too. The original Magus was probably strategery level up there with Etienne. Dev is not. Because he's pretending. Because I'm going to be the smartest person in the room, and you got to have strategy. And Etienne's running circles around him. So, and we understand why now. We understand what happened. It's like in 1989, he got replaced by an inferior one, and it's this to give fodder to all the people that hate it. 100% affirmative action, right? Because you got the job, because it's you got the same skin color and your voice sounds similar. It's
But like, it's weird that I guess they wouldn't notice then, right?
Yeah, it's still a little weird. It's the Clark Kent glasses thing. There's some things you just have to accept in comics world to go with it.
Yeah.
You're completely right. Somebody would have noticed, especially when you got god level telepaths running around this joint.
Right. They would have noticed something.
Oh, I love his part where he was talking about why, because Dev says, you're an anarchist. You just want to sit and do nothing. Why did you decide to start amassing power? And he says that we're anarchists. Ukraine had a functioning anarchist system. Nonviolence doesn't matter if your neighbor is really into violence.
Yeah.
The second he saw a superpower, he knew that's just the way it's going to be now. Someone like him needed a seat at the table.
And then what I also love, the next thing we come up on is Etienne immediately is just like, oh, by the way, Tanya was a spy. He never stays duplicitous. He always shows his cards almost immediately. And like I said, it's hilarious.
It's the ethical thing to do.
Okay, by the way, we got to stay here. So, Tiff, earlier you said, and I love this, like he has no, I love that. I love that take after all.
He has his own set of ethics, and he puts those above what you consider more basic human morality and decency.
Like he always comes out on top.
He has ethics, I guess, in the way of like he has his own set of rules he lives by, but no one else would find those rules cool. I guess that's what I meant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree. Because like I said, he's very Charles Xavier, and he's better than Charles Xavier. One of the things I think about Charles Xavier in Marvel is he can't really be Charles Xavier because then you couldn't sell books. When Thanos shows up, you're like, what was Xavier up to, right? When this other thing happens, what was he up to? So, but in this universe, he can be all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-manipulative. And so when you're like, yeah, he doesn't have ethics, like, I agree. It's like he really is the master puppet master, and there are just a few pieces in his way that he can't get around, and he's doing his best to placate those while he's waiting.
Well, Professor X did some shitty things.
Oh, yeah.
Where, God, there was a mutant that was, like, way too powerful. He was like his touch would just destroy anything and everything. And Professor X shut off his mind and put him in a coma. And then when Professor X died, that dude came back to life. And Professor X is like, hey, X-Men, like, yeah, you got to go kill this super powerful being that was in a coma because I just put him in a coma. So go deal with that. And this kid takes out the entire Marvel universe until one of the young X-Men is like, I just got to go back in time and make sure his parents don't meet. That's the only way to beat this guy. But Professor X he's a dick.
Saying Etienne is not cool is the opposite of what Casper was saying. He just wanted to draw Etienne as the most cool motherfucker from each time period. He like saw him as like Basquiat mixed with Coleman Domingo is what he's going for.
No, I get like he looks cool, but I mean just the shit he does is not cool.
Oh yeah. But I love those those differences in the characters.
Yeah.
He's so cool looking, but he's doing all this shady shit all the time.
Yeah.
In the first book, he's having coffee and brunch while he's killing the president and all those people.
Yeah. He's a fucking phenomenal character.
I love every character in this book. They are all riveting. And then, what we get the fun is this is how Eliza comes off the board because Etienne's, we got to keep Eliza on our side. The one thing that could take her off the board is her dead husband coming back from the dead and giving her some love.
But instead, we get the final reveal of this issue, which is Dev and Eliza say, we agree to kill Etienne Lux in 3 days.
And this is going to coalesce. Yeah. Kid Ignition is going to get his debutante ball, right, at 18. As quinceanera, basically. He's going to get that. All the supers are going to decide if he's a super or not. So that's happening next. And they're basically like, cool, we know where Etienne's going to be. We know it can happen. And this is fun because this will now be the third meeting of the heroes. And on two of those, right, we had the art show, which was the chillest. But the other one, the major died. And this one, they're already plotting. So it's like anytime you get all six of these people in a room together, like, you got Game of Thrones stuff going on. Etienne speaks to me. There will be times in a fight I'm just like, by the way, clearly the parameters of the fight are this, and I'm going to give you advice for this fight. Here's what you're going to want to do, even though it hurts me. And you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, we're fighting, right? There are rules to this fight. The rules of the fight matter more than me winning the fight. And then I'm also egotistical. I'm like, and I'm still winning even after telling you that, but I'm obligated to tell you that so we keep in the rules of the fight. So when I'm watching him, I think you and I are sniffing out the same thing. He keeps saying ethics and right thing to do. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. I respect you for it, but let's not play the like you're being ethical here.
Yeah, it's because he's saying he's operating under the right things or the right rules for him and for him to sleep better at night.
Yeah.
Right? And for him to have his own vision of the world. But does he give a shit about how other people want to live? Clearly not, if he's manipulating the ones that want to be left alone.
He has to turn off his sexual drive, and he has to turn off parts of his brain that care about killing so many people. Already, that should be a red flag to you, Etienne.
And again, he's sacrificed his own humanity, you know?
Yeah,
like
literally and like metaphorically in so many ways.
Mike, you talk the dichotomy. I would say Tien and Eliza line up more than Eliza and Masumi, I think.
I said there is a great dichotomy that can be talked about between any two character pairs.
Yes, and I was going to say, obviously the two forces of nature line up a little, but I think Eliza and Etienne both having to give up their humanity for their superpower, and that being required to keep the world in line, I think is a very obvious parallel that we see.
Yeah, and I love the parallel that I'm seeing more of Magus and Etienne, like both, they're the ones who have all the rules in place and have the rules and the political stuff against each other to go. They're like, there's that pairing right there. I love the right wing versus the left wing cult that we see in the Pyramid versus Haven.
Well, I would argue that Masumi and Magus line up the best, because these are two people who were basically granted a superpower that locked them in time, that messed up their relationship, right? They both lost a relationship over, and basically they both want to do something else, and they are stuck in a thing where if they give in to their base emotions, they basically ruin the world. So that parallel works really well for me, in my opinion. This is fun, like the compare characters. This is like English 101. This is such an easy Jeff May high school assign it as an assignment English class thing.
All right, so to bring it home with issue 11, we start
the birthday party. I love it.
Yeah. The birthday party, the quinceañera for Kid Ignition. So Etienne and Val, we start out, they're having a kind of a whimsical talk about drinking too much coffee. And he's talking, and Etienne mentions, it doesn't matter, I can just suppress my own bladder pain and drink more coffee. Yeah. This is crazy that this issue begins like this, with such a whimsical conversation. Because we go right into what Eliza and Dev have been up to for the past 3 days. Turns out that whole meeting that Val was having with Eliza was just a ruse, that to get Val off the table for a while so she wouldn't notice that Dev as Magus was having all of his pyramid cultists put this kind of a neural net all around the stadium that they're going to meet. Yeah. And this isn't to trap or to kill Etienne. This is because his fail-safes are going to go off. We need a way, if these fail-safes are real, we have to contain it within there with all of us, because we can't have people die. So I really like that he was so concerned. Dev as a person is, no, we can't do that. Even though it would help us out to take him off the table, we got to do it clean.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice that the first couple times I went through. I just thought that was something else they were doing to help kill him. It took me a couple times to realize that, oh wait, Dev is going out of his way and making it so the plan might not happen just to save as many people as possible. Just like Etienne would do if he had to do something like that.
Right, and they know that, again, they would be way worse if killing Etienne leads to the destruction of Australia, where they're at. Because again, they've already taken out one continent.
Yep, exactly. They're like, we can't risk another whole continent. We know what that did to the psyche of the entire world. So Heavies, we get the scene where he's introducing them all to Kid Ignition at once, and the whole crux of their plan is they have to close the dome. So one of Eliza's power, conveniently, is that she can control the weather and make it rain. She's also Storm, go figure. Yeah. But it starts to rain, they start to complain, that they start to talk about, is Kid Ignition really a superpower? Val confirms he can take out a planet and has some degree of psychic resistance. But Etienne comes in and says, yeah, either me or Magus could just take him off the table. We could remove the boy. It's just so direct about it. Yeah, we could remove the boy right in front of him.
And he gets upset. I love it because he is the very 90s. I was a huge Superboy Impulse fan. So he's very much Superboy. Hey, you're talking about me, whatever. I'll take you, man.
So this is where we get the other big, shocking scene of the entire series. There's 3 of these that happens, and as soon as the dome closes, they fire off the neural net, and Eliza zaps in full-on devil armor costume to meet them, and just zaps Etienne in half in a massive two-page spread. Yeah.
just blasts him. It's fucking awesome. And then you see the faces of everybody reacting to it.
Yeah, they're like in a circle all around him, and it looks very much like a combination of when Heavy got hit early on and that panel we were talking about when Eliza got her devil powers. You could see her skeleton, because Etienne's skeleton is etched in the background behind all of their faces, like over
Can
everything.
I make a point? This has to be deliberate looking at this again. Eliza looks very angelic. So she does have the claws, but if you look at even the light, I'm looking at the exact image. She looks much more heroic and angelic here, where normally, I'm looking at it too, looks very much just devilish normally. And in this case, she actually looks a little angelic there.
But also the panel before she blows him up, she has devil horn.
Yeah, the one before she comes in and she looks just like the devil, and then when she takes them out.
Yeah, the horns go away.
Everyone's shocked. They don't know what to do. They're coming away. And then we cut to this coffee house somewhere. And the lady's talking to somebody, and you turn the panel over. It's this guy who says to the waitress there, "I can see your logic, but is it ethical?"
Yeah.
Well, what's great, I mean, we get it immediately. I would say for any comic book fan, we knew this was coming. This was the end of X-Men 3, where Patrick Stewart was maybe leaving the franchise, and so we end and his voice is coming out of someone else. The psychic is going to transfer to another body. So I was like, when I saw it, I was like, does that happen? So there's this diner and this lady's talking. This guy's, let me pose an ethical question to you. Your friends just tried to kill you. They failed. You know they're going to keep trying when you're back. What are you supposed to do here? And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then she says some stuff, right? Then he ends with being like, yeah, you're right. Is it ethical? But we knew he was going to come back, I would say, right? I was worried.
No, because he was smarter. He was like the smartest guy in the room. Of course, he has a plan for this.
So what I wonder is he does, like, his eyes do get wide and he does say Magus. Valentina, in theory, is listening to them all about this, but she mind melded with him in issue 1. So Etienne and Valentina, like, how they're playing this is very interesting to me, because they both have to know that this doesn't matter. So we've now wound up with these 6 people where we don't know what any of them are thinking or actually doing.
Well, and this speaks to also Dev being a more inferior Magus, because he doesn't account for the fact that Etienne already has a backup plan for when someone kills him. You know what I mean?
And yeah, exactly. Well, Jackie Magus's his atomic power was literally to know shit, just know what's going on. Yeah. And if it was him, he would just know. Etienne's still somewhere else. He would never have
tried this.
You've asked about like the Major and the Signal, like these 2 like little one-offs that are good things. This exact scenario happened before. The 6 supers got together, decided to take out a Heavy. Jackie Magus was the one that did the first one. He had everything in control. We have Dev this time, and it's like, he doesn't even have it for a second. He doesn't know what's going on. He's being misled by multiple people, and his plan fails instantly.
Yeah, and Etienne comes back as another super cool black guy.
Which he said that's an active choice, because he was a black French guy, and that's my identity. I'll go into other bodies, but I am a black Frenchman.
Yep, it's like one of his ethics he's not going to break. It's a rule he sets for himself.
Yeah, and they were even like, but your life's just harder being a black guy. You could have made it way easier. And he's like, no, but I'm a black guy. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's another, Tanya, I think, brings it up to him in one of the later issues, of course. Cool. Well, I think that brings us to the end of Volume 2 of Power Fantasy. Tiff, thanks for coming on. Do you have any last thoughts about the whole Volume 2, all of Power Fantasy?
God, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I don't know a better way to say it.
We, unfortunately, will be releasing this well past when you have done your amazing Comic-Con panel. So we can just make the assumption that it's gone well. So this is a hard spot to put you in. Can you talk about your panel? But unfortunately, you'll be talking about it in the past. But don't worry, we'll, on the socials, hype you up.
It's Sus Stories, and we're going to review the time the Punisher is black. I got to send out those comics to the people. But yeah, we're going to review that live. And I'm also going to ask them who they can mess up. We got my friend Joe Welke. We got Danny Fernandez and Adam Todd Brown, of course, who I go to WNBA games with all the time. And we have Jeff May. I am recording the audio. I believe I have Adam's wife recording the video. So, and it will go up on a Patreon.
Oh my gosh. So if you are listening to this, and of course this amazing thing happened in the past, You have to subscribe to Sus Stories for that. I'm so happy I'm a member. Keep it up.
There's a $20 one where you get comic books. I send you comics. I know that the sandwich part, the second thing I would recommend, The Fury of Firestorm, number 4 came out. And it's so fucking dark, bro. It's so dark and good. Because Firestorm, he's these two guys mushed into one, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So one of the old man scientists left, and now Robbie is on his own as Firestorm. But there's actually a Firestorm entity that has become sentient and has taken over the body. So now he's like a Dr. Manhattan who's just making the Justice League disintegrate. And it's so fucking dark and great.
So I absolutely got to give you your bonus points, remembering that you got to check this out at the end.
Yeah, you said a sandwich.
Yeah, I love it. Second guest, remember the sandwich. Mike, anything new from the last time we talked eons ago?
From a day ago or weeks ago, depending on who's listening? No. My thing to check out this week would still be what I mentioned earlier. Check out Kieron Gillen's other books.
Yeah.
Wicked and the Divine is just a great story. Die and the sequel, Die Loaded. Just the guy writes to an ending, knows how to do that and complete it.
Absolutely love it. I get to cheat and do Dr. Manhattan powers and say, you absolutely have to check out the Patreon exclusive Comic-Con recording of Atif Myers and crew. So go check that out. Man, if y'all haven't, you're fools. You're fools. Us here on August 9th can tell you just how great that is. Anyway, thank you so much for being on. We did keep you a little past your bedtime. I apologize for that, but thank you. It was immense pleasure to get so much extra information out of you. Love talking comics. We put the comic signal up and people come. Mike, anything to end on before we head out?
Nope, just a hearty rats off to you as always, Dre.
And Atif, I'll let you get the last word before I just give the places.
Thank you so much. I love y'all. Thank you. Really, I'm happy to be here. Thank you again for putting this on my fucking radar. Unbelievable book.
You're welcome.
Again, once more, Sus Stories, patreon.com. You are Atif Myers, Myers. On some of the socials, you're kind of hit or miss, but you're there. And of course, the Discord for the You Don't Even Like Network, you are very active there. So those are the ways to contact. You can find myself most places as Nerd Numbers, and of course, Mike Slater at MikeSlater.com. You got to check it out. It is amazing. It is a great site. Has some good stuff. And then Slatron on the internets, on the socials. Go tell Slatron he is wrong. Just for me. I appreciate it. I want to make that a thing.
Do it
it's
for
a thing I'm trying to make happen. We'll see if it happens one day. All right. Thank you so much. We will see you in 2 weeks for Power Fantasy Volume 3, which will cover the last 5 issues that come out before the hiatus.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, all.
Peace.
Boom, 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 ba 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 bum bum ba 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 boom 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 ba 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 ba